Hey there, and welcome to Bacchus Drinkers, a sophisticated way to enjoy Final Fantasy IV free enterprise. My name is Sheep Launcher. I'm up here in the broadcast booth with Deathlike, and tonight on our wine list is a very fine varietal. Some might say a very meh varietal. Kain is our featured character. Our runners have to defeat Kain's nemesis, the D-Mist, in order to get the crystal and to defeat Zeromus at the end. The Berserk is going to be the order of the day as T. Wildish is on, so the hunt will be on for some good weapons and some good characters. We're joined by our restreamer S Grunt and our tracker Beauty and Discovery and Deathlike. This is a very fine club. What are you looking forward to tonight?
Less foo, because there is no foo this time. Last week, we had so much foo, we forgot to drink our wine. That was the problem. And so all that wine that was not consumed, foo still has to clean up after a mess, and that's what mops are for. And so he's taking the night off to clean up. And of course, we can't have underage drinking, so the murder children that we all know and love, they're also taking time out probably to watch over the mop, because you don't know what liquor he might be up to. So this time there will be some Bacchus, or if we don't, we better find some more white mages to seed.
Yeah, very much so. A Rosa would certainly be appreciated, and not just because Kain has a major crush on her, but Rosa can do double duty with both healing and if she gets a couple lines in her, she could really do some damage with a decent bow and set of arrows. So normally runners look for a D-Mist because it hides a key item. It will not hide a key item tonight, but that is the only requirement to get that crystal. To find and defeat the D-Mist wherever that may be hiding. Is it too much to ask for a D-Mist in the CPU spot?
Only if commentators' curses will it, and I would like to will it, because the best spot for a character hunt is in the worst place possible. Because we like it. Of course, there are other spots that runners might not even think of. Like, hey, if that package could be hiding right then and there, and those are those low percentage chances, but in a randomizer, we've got 34 spots where bosses can be. How about there? That's just as fun.
We have Fried Potato, we have Simbu, we have a White Mage, and Asura hands us a crystal ring with that loaded kit. Let's get loaded. We're really glad to have you with us. We're underway.
Yeah, so I think the pass is on this time. So if you like that an instant warp or Troya to Z, that is on the table. Of course. Having to go through the LST to beat Z is fun, but you know what? I like shortcuts, and I don't like to take a LST walk thinking about how I wish to defeat Z. That's 5 minutes too long. So, and away we go. Interesting decision. One is to Potatoes going for some characters for free characters, and Zimbu, hey, go. Trying to find out where the trap chests are and trying to loot kind of efficiently as possible.
Really two kind of approaches when you're dealing with a night of wine drinking. Fried Potato immediately going for more people to drink with, and Simbu immediately going to the wine cellar to look for some good stuff. Did pick up a black belt in that first room. Will be skipping that this time around. Did find a trap chest and will reset to look for some other stuff. In Mysidia, a Yong and a Tella, and Yong, might just need too many levels to be effective. This is all about getting your crystal fast and then getting getting to Z as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and the free item. Oh well, it's for a character we don't have. That's fine. So I think at the moment, if you don't make Yang the primary attacker, Kain will probably serve as that role if finding a decent weapon. I don't think we've found anything so far to justify keeping Kain here quite yet. I mean, we already have weapon for Cecil, but he hasn't shown up. So right now, it's still trying to find the loot, especially with berserkers. You're going to be looting early on and probably doing a little bit of shopping to kind of help out with the offense and occasionally defense, but most of the time you're trying to find something to swing with. And Simbu finding that assassin dagger, for now, Kate, it's good enough for Kate.
The best thing that Fried Potato found in the public treasury in Troya was an elven bow, and that will mean Rosa can start doing some damage with any kind of decent arrows. Fried Potato checking out the Mist Cave. See if it's a vanilla demist. It is not. Kane's other nemesis, Valvalis, is hanging out there instead, and Fried Potato says you can stay right there.
Those early Val in the worst of places, would probably be panic mode for some, but since she's not just taking scenic route, Mist Cave, it's lots of fuzzy water particles. Yeah, that's fine. Edward blocking the way. Potato's like, no, not worth getting the treasure. I don't want to pick up an Edward, and I totally understand. But having that Tella there, you could do a lot of looting with him, and you could just go through the back, walk all the way behind Edward and try to loot that way. But I don't know. I don't think, probably not always the most efficient use of time. Some of the time.
Did find what he was looking for, a defense sword in Eblan Castle. That is a big pickup for him.
Yeah, that should hold well to the end game as arguably probably Kane's best weapon. There are other weapons that have different utility, like a white spear or dragoon spear, so they will still have value. Right, I mean, worst case, you sell it, get some money. It's nothing. And hey, see the ant line not taking its normal moon journey this time around. Surprise.
Picking up cabins in Troya after doing some selling. Dealt an Ashura orb, which provides quite a bit of money for this stage of the game. Fried Potato, meanwhile, heading up Mount Hobbs.
Yeah, there's just variety not in the seed. There's just money and hey, vanilla dupe Yang. How about that?
There have been a couple of vanilla characters so far. There was a vanilla dupe Tella in Damsian. So really, you want a Cecil to start. That it is C relaxed, so Cecil is not restricted in the way he might be in some other flag sets. But so far, it's Kain leading the charge here.
I think with a party with more old men, Potato having two Tellas, probably will yeet one of them because one old man is enough to dupe Tellas. Well, you could probably do some interesting things. Right now, probably not enough gear to justify second Tella. So, although second Yang doesn't seem very appealing.
Nice silent staff just lying around, and a crystal gauntlet in Silvera. Leviathan is the noodle at the bottom of the Antlion Cave. There's not much that's a big deal down here. That vampire really coming in handy, and Fried Potato will be through Lickety Split.
Picking up some decent items. Illusions are nice when you don't want to completely rely on your white mage to do blink strats. And hey, we were just talking about that pass. Hey, freeze free pass to Z. How about that?
Might potentially be completely haunted. Simbu did make an interesting purchase in Silvera, a mute knife. We were talking about other weapons that Kain might find useful. A mute knife is one of those that against mage type enemies, it will do a number. And so against the Magus Sisters, for example, swap that mute knife onto Kain and he will cut through them like butter.
Probably will want to jump to maximize the effect, because a mute knife not very strong on its own. But hey, when you find a racial weakness, with the weapon, your attack power quadruples, and quadrupling some reasonable damage attack power weapon. Because suddenly it looks like an Excal suddenly, and not an Excal is pretty good. So always on the lookout for, especially even though Demus is the boss you're looking for, Magus Sisters, Azura, bosses who kind of make lives a little bit miserable, make them a little bit easier.
He's running into Evil Wall at Fabul Castle, and this is literally the plot of A Cask of Amontillado. For the love of God, Montresor!
Probably, you know what? I should do more reading. I've heard of the book.
So you're saying I could entice you into my basement with a promise of a cask of vintage fortified wine, and then slowly build a wall around you as revenge for something bad to me you did 20 years ago, and you wouldn't know.
That sounds like a classic line for a lot of books. That's you know what, if you find revenge through wine, I salute you. No, you don't expect things when you're drunk. That's just the way of things. Sometimes you don't know the reason, whether good or bad. Yeah, and this kind of evil wall, while not. Probably not the most threatening at this spot, given the low agility, but Evil Wall cheats because hey, you moving up and then punch. For whatever design, when you do a chain like that, the turn starts immediately after the ATB. I think starts immediately after the Evil moves up close. So when you say Evil Wall cheats, that's how it goes. And similar with the Party Rock, it's time for that favorite game everyone wants to play.
Hello. Well, that was a, let's hope we find a Cecil out of 10. That's a crystal sword in the treasury.
Yeah, early light sword from Evelyn Treasury now now everyone has access to it. So the question is, how late will Cecil appear, or is Cecil gonna appear at all? At this point, I'm thinking Cecil will probably appear like on the moon, just because moon. There's
literally anywhere he shows up, he is going into that party with that crystal sword. Whenever, wherever.
Yeah, so I think depending on when the grind happens, if the grind happens much earlier, especially with scrambled eggs, that is the Cecil. But still, I think Cecil probably will still even get a chance to be late in the party. I mean, it's hard to say no to best weapon, best character, best berserker. So it's hard to say no, especially with this club. It's hard to say no to a Cecil going burr. The crystal goblets holding the crystal sword. It's really nice, and we like to say burr even when we don't take our wines chilled. Simbu heading into Baron Inn, finding a Sid there, still rocking the 2 characters, hasn't checked any of the character slots. Water Hag in the first spot, a real waste of Water Hag. Yeah, I think sometimes picking up the characters, sometimes there is a thought, to turn turn economy, the idea of having characters not waste turns. So if you basically make a, like say a teleparry because he can't do anything, well, there's third Yang in the seed. that you're spending too much time in the fight, essentially. So if you're not doing damage and being efficient, they're kind of a waste of a spot for a bit. So it takes time for many characters to kind of get to a point where they become efficient. And so I don't. Where do we find the defense sword? Yeah,
in Evelyn Castle.
So that's going to give Simbu much of a significant advantage early. So.
Yeah, Simbu was through that evil wall fight. Both runners entered it about 30 seconds apart, and Simbu was through a couple of minutes earlier. That defense sword doing a lot of work on that evil wall. That Kain is really carrying this team, which is not something you can say often. And which will make his inevitable betrayer all the bitterer.
Oh, an early hook. Oh, so this is not a force hook seed, so Magma is still at large. Can still change depending on where it's found. But if this is a hook seed, having a Kain defense sword will probably get Simbu a lot more time, depending on how things we haven't seen the character at Cave Eblin, so there's still a seed. If there's still a Cecil, the differences in timing will favor Simbu until otherwise. Cecil's will be the only one who would make a difference.
Also, our two characters hanging out at the top of the tower of Zot, so both runners have access to that. By the way, there are 5 total runners running this club tonight. The 2 featured runners, Fried Potato and Simbu, running, but we'll keep an eye on the other runners as well. It really is a fun club to be running, and we encourage you to get involved in this if you'd like.
Yeah, very different set of flags, a little more casual. Berserker favorite. Although last week there were more foods than there were Zerking going on. So I would this is at least looking to be a definitely more Zerking seed. That is for sure.
Was looking in his inventory for an hourglass, I believe, to stop these dark imps, not finding one while Simbu gets his pass. That Assassin Dagger, though, on Kain will be effective. Assassin Dagger has a chance of doing the swoon effect against any enemy who doesn't have the boss bit. The dark imps do not have the boss bit, so they are looking into Kain's eyes and just fainting dead away at how dreamy they are.
I think it's more of the knife, but sure, with enough hypnosis, you too can betray enemies in one hit. I think it's it's a popular thing to have something like an Assassin Dagger, especially with free bosses and with the Cecil in DKC form. Popular having a black sword being basically the primary go-to weapon for best weapon for him, and also instant death, and it's about the same thing. I missed the key item, but Mom Bomb for your troubles.
It is a pink tail, and I believe adamants are available, so that adamant armor would be a huge reason to go to the grotto. Mom Bomb in the changing room, though, is it's very obnoxious.
Yeah, so any other boss? Well, there are a couple other bosses that would definitely slow this down, like typically Water Hag or the Joker himself, Golbez. Bomb right up there. Well, normally probably not the toughest of bosses, but Bomb has been known to hold up held up things, and that blizzard is still not enough. I don't think there's enough J items to do too much work, but still, with the split HP between all those bombs, gray bombs, and the mom bomb, that helps a lot with the how much life there, which is just good enough for a kick and blizzard item usage.
Simbu is going to head up ordeals right after Potato, and Simbu with his defense sword should get through it just a little bit faster, except maybe on those dark imps. The varietal of wine that Kain will be wielding with that defense sword is Sauvignon Blanc.
I'm not a connoisseur. That's all I say. Connoisseur of wines. Not. I think social engagements and drinking, cool. Those are cool things. As long as you drink responsibly, that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, if I say it, you could probably assume it's a pun. So, but Potato has his pigtail. He doesn't have a hook yet, so he knows he needs to complete his tour of the overworld, and he will stop in Baron to pick up that hook from a fairly trivial Baron Inn.
Would it be? Would you just? I mean, at this point, I think it's either do the hook route or hope for Magma Key in the vanilla spot after completing Zot. That's an interesting choice if for a gamble here. I don't know. I would actually think of doing Zot anyways, just because.
To me, I would want to do Zot because I have that crystal sword burning a hole in my inventory, and Zot has 2 more characters. That's it. 2 more chances at that Cecil, just a little bit more experience to make the hook route that much easier. If I'm one of these runners, which I'm not, and that, should be self-explanatory, but, I just wanted to clear the air. If I were one of these runners, I would be heading up the Tower of Zot. 2 more boss checks, because you only need to defeat D-Mist wherever D-Mist is. 2 more boss checks, 2 more character checks, and a key item. I'm heading there immediately.
Yeah, character checks are obviously the temptation, but the boss checks are why bother? No, of course, 2 opportunities. Usually worthwhile, although the spots can be tricky given the potential bosses that are left on the table. We know Val is not her vanilla spot, so she'll probably ruin our runner today. But a surprise Golbez, at Val's spot could still be pretty devastating. But I think since the pigtail is available, turning it in, getting the adamant, then you can pretty much survive Golbez for the most part, except for when Virus shows around, and then it's not it. Probably not worried. Try not to get to that far.
Potato is through. Dr. Luge will get a Sid, and our tracker Beauty and Discovery pointing out the question is really which Tella gets dropped for Sid here. And he's going with Yang, a kind of more like-for-like swap, but 2 Tellas in Potato's party.
I think that since Fu is out, Tella is the only source of black magic in the party. So what this says is that Potato thinks there will be a time where 2 Tellas will shine, and there are a few instances that would be true. There's the D machine grind. Not saying we want to do that, but the other thing he's great at is elements. The elements fight. Even though we have a Yang, our runners probably will not have a whole collection of elemental claws available to, pick out weaknesses. So there is Tella, second Tella. Could be more useful than the Sid at this point. It's kind of depend. I don't think we've found a decent axe for Sid. I think the dwarf axe has been available, so maybe unless like an ogre axe shows up, that's about you could swap to a bow and arrow, but Sid is kind of limited at this point.
I've seen a poison axe floating around. I believe a poison axe was in the treasury, but yeah, not a whole lot for Sid. So Tella has his uses. Potato made a beeline to the Adamant Grotto, got that Adamant armor, and is heading straight up the Tower of Zod. It's only a short jaunt, the short sea away from that. Not going to pet a dog on the way up. Is interested in going directly for this boss. Wouldn't it be funny if Demas were at the first spot, available right away?
Has been known to be a fun spot that occasional runners miss. You're thinking, what spot is available that I haven't tried yet? And that is probably near one of the top missed spots on the list. Mostly because, hey, this Zot 1 always accessible. There is no actual requirement for it. So that can trip starting runners out. So this is always a place to check, especially on any sort of Demas hunt, especially when Demas has the key item gating your progress. And this is not fun.
Yeah, we saw this play being made a couple of times during the last tournament we had, season 5. CPU at this spot, not fun. At least the back row glitch is on for all these bows and arrows, but yeah, now would be the time to use those Soma drops to get Tella to Medio.
Kind of wished that the MP glitch was on because then that's the only the alternative way outside of Soma drops to get to see rocks from Tella. I mean, this is the time where, hey, I don't want to slow things down, but I would like to throw some rocks at my CPU. That is a lot of fun seeing, because hey, swag rocks is a lot of fun when there are actual situations like this to use, but we can't use it, so that dream deferred. So it's so sad.
Yeah, like a raisin in the sun, which will eventually. You can make wine out of that probably, but it will be interesting to see the same party out of Simbu, except with a Yang instead of a Tella. Probably a little more traditional, but that Kain's still doing more damage on Simbu's side because of that defense sword.
Right now, Simbu's Yang probably won't contribute. Yang in the back row is unfortunate. Even though we have the back row glitch on, there are very limited ways of getting Yang the back row glitch, and you'll probably need to take advantage of the steel glitch. But right now we not the point. We don't have an edge, so it's kind of hard to take advantage of it. But oh boy, it's time for orbs. Let's just hope for Berserk Kain to do all the work.
This is what Berserk gets you, getting extra turns, but oof, that is a Globe 199 to the person Simbu could least afford. Another Edward. Still no spoon, by the way. Edward can equip the spoon in these flags. The spoon is good for more than keeping your champagne bubbly, but no spoon as of yet, and until we get one, his utility in this party is probably limited. That is an edge tied up.
This is an easy decision. You probably eat a Tella, and even if you don't equip much on the Tella on the edge, you probably want to throw things. And would have been nice to be able to throw things at that CPU, that nasty CPU, just a moment ago. So yeah, I can totally get it. Although right now, do we have any weapons for? No. Well, okay, we have two knives.
Tiger and a mute knife. Yeah.
Sharp objects. That's what we really want. Sharp objects.
And we want that agility in the middle. Edge has a high agility, which will make sure that he gets plenty of turns. This is still a spot where a fast anchor is really effective in getting many more turns than the enemy.
This happens to be a fast spot. Oh, the Odin. Oh boy. Well, at least we got rated. I got the Ninja Star we picked up from the starter, from probably from the treasury. I don't remember where, but
yeah, that was from Bedward. Bedward gave us
of course,
a Ninja Star, so he knows what's best.
Shouldn't be too long. I don't think at this point we haven't found a Thunderclaw. So look, Simbo thinking the same way. Why, Yang? Sorry, man. I got you. I got the claws too. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but kind of right now, parties pretty much mirroring each other with a different anchor at the moment. So that's
and different tellas. So an interesting little palette swap there. But Potato is through, and Simbu right behind.
So
still no Cecil, which I guess we could have guaranteed after we found a crystal sword just lying in the easily accessible treasury.
There's always that option where Cecil never shows.
Whoa!
Of course.
So, there is an Edward or two, I believe, hanging out in the Tower of Wishes. I don't believe Sibai is on. So, do you go pick up an Edward?
At this point, why not? I mean, Tella. I think we still have one use for Tella, which is probably if we have to actually go to the sealed cave. So right now, I would, or the deep machine grind. Otherwise, I don't know, yeeting Tella, or no, yeet the Sid. Replace the Sid. That would be my first choice. If I want to yeet someone, Sid would probably be the first choice at this point.
Yeah, Sid would be my odd man out in favor of Eddie if I were willing to kind of shepherd Eddie through that hook route with a spoon. Nice ribbon.
Yeah, that ribbon, also with the adamant, probably two good things that we'll probably see be used if a Golbez appears. So it's part of that sequence. You need some paralysis protection. But although ribbon doesn't protect against paralysis, but protects against instant death. So that's. But looks like Potato is going through doing Edward looting, and will find the defense sword that Simbo already picked up. And
we'll
then
take care of some of these trap chests, which Simbu did not tangle with, but that mute knife edge will one-shot the Mad Ogres, who are mages and are thus weak. And look at that, Simbu making the play, taking Edward in place of Sid. I think
did Simbu peak this early? I'm trying to I think one of them peaked this, and then it's like, no way. So I guess, and there it is, defense sword. That's probably should be enough for like we got the crystal sword, got a defense sword. I think from a weapons perspective, we're done. We're done looting for Kain. Probably the next best thing would be like a dragoon spear, because there's plenty of dragon bosses left on the table. So I think that would be the only quote upgrade, even though it's a weaker weapon overall. But with the bosses left, and a grind that still has to happen, dragoon spear, kind of a top tier grinding weapon, and still definitely is viable endgame weapon for Kain.
That Mad Ogre chest, by the way, yielded a life staff, a really nice weapon for that Rosa when you want her to shift into full-time white mage mode, and with that defense sword right next to it, a very nice 1-2 punch, and Potato out of there, and he's heading down into Cave Eblin. Did find for sale no Bacchuses, but did find, I believe, hourglasses for sale.
Plenty more opportunity to find Bacchus. This is just usually the first stop with the 2 opportunities. Tier 5 items include the Bacchus wine, so this is usually the first place to check if you're doing the hook route. There's still what 4 more opportunities, 3 shops underground, 1 on the moon. So plenty of opportunity left. And hey, some vanilla.
The tasting profile for the seed, I'm getting notes of vanilla, hints of vanilla. It's light and playful on my tongue. It really is. That's another edge. And do you want 2 edges? I don't. Over that Sid, Potato says yes.
This is an interesting decision. Sid probably, at least for the time being, Fred didn't bother to swap in the Edward. So, and we know both of them have picked up the spoon. So this is an interesting decision. Right now, there's not enough Hanzo steel to go around. So this might work against Fried Potato. Right now, we have probably to check some shops, hope for like some ninja katanas, and that's probably where the whatever money in this seed will be spent on towards the end. That will probably not try to loot anymore, but more like do more shopping in the underground.
Which does come with 2 short swords, which is better than nothing. There are some flags where he literally comes with a low tier claw or something. So the short swords will at least get him off the ground. Simbu, meanwhile, says, "I've got a spoon word. I don't need another Edge. Edge is just gonna try and dart that spoon. I don't want him to."
I think late game, it would make sense. Like, Kid is still a solid in-game character. Probably right now, Kid would probably still be the best person to wield the adamant. I think both the runners have done that. But just if you want to keep that Edward line for the end game, it might be worth swapping it late for the Z fight. Just that alone, so he doesn't die on the first big bang. That might be worth that. That is potentially worth doing. And I think I saw Simbu's Edge with the boomerangs for forever. I think we're harking back to ZZ3. Is it ZZ3? Has it ended yet? ZZ3? I'm told it hasn't ended yet.
Well, Potato, the ultimate betrayal, instead of using that Soma drop on Kain to let Kain cast things, using it on Tella, we'll see if Swag Rocks come out. Tella now has 100 HP. And this is the Song of Our People.
Song of Someone's People. I actually do like the song. It's a wonderful tale of time. Forever.
And that was astoundingly quick on Simbu's side. A very well done failed him fight. Potato will be right behind Bahamut at the 2nd spot. This should be almost free here.
Still probably want to get a few walls up. The Mega Nukes will still come. The Mega Nukes will still hurt. But we can definitely save some space. Hiding Edward being an anchor for Simbu very smartly. Letting him. Well, there's no XP on the first spot, on the King Queen Emerald spot. The Ruby spot actually does have noticeable spell power for Blarg, so just Mega Nuke, and probably just need to wall really the characters that need to stay alive, which is Kain, Edge, Rosa. Tala can take a nap. Edward will clean up some experience. So, and especially with the slingshot being enabled as having 5 characters and being 5 levels under the median of all of the levels of our characters. 5 median being the middle, not average. So pretty easy to do. When he hit his starting level is level 5, which is already lower than the average starting level of most characters.
And Simbu works that to perfection, and one more swing from Kain takes care of Bahamut, and this is really what this seed is about. Deathlike is a bunch of really armored and weaponed characters taking big swings making big plays. Simbu's going to get underground in less than 37 minutes.
This is, I mean, this we've done everything what we have to do with Overworld plus Zot. So this is good, but this is unfortunate for the edges on Potato will be behind on the XP curve. Simbu, on the other hand, like having the additional Edward, so one less wall to worry about. They all, Simbu got the experience on the guys that need it, and Potato will probably might have to consider doing an early egg grind if sirens haven't been found yet. So right now, hoping for a grind that is not the machine is probably on our table, especially. And if we don't find sirens, well, we have edge. We can go steal some.
Both of our runners launched the Falcon. Both took a look at the Sparkle at the top of the tower. Probably won't be returning to that anytime soon. I do want to thank our restreamer, S-Grunt, and our tracker, Beauty and Discovery, doing an intrepid job, as always. And thanks to my co-commentator, Deathlike, for putting up with the cellar full of puns I have in store for tonight. This is a really exciting matchup, and we're glad you're here with us as well. And that is a Golbez in Dwarf Castle in the first spot, a little French vanilla. Simbu wants to set up better for that.
Yeah, when you spot a Golbez, sometimes you do want to reset, and it's worth time. But hey, we found our grind. D machines, not today. Let's when you have kind of a berserker setup, ideally you don't want to do D machines. It's more useful for a group of mages where dealing damage as a mage when you're not black mage, when you're not dealing damage, it feels bad. So you need a little bit of muscle to do certain grinds, and the D machine grind very popular because Tella is kind of the anchor for all things D machine. Having access to weak makes the grind so much more palatable, and usually anchored in the middle spot because making the enemy monsters not go completely out of turn so quickly. So
Tamra's got the goods tonight. Tamra has the wine, and Simbu sold a lot of stuff in order to pick up just the finest vintages and varietals, and hopefully, Potato going for that as well. Hopefully going for a nice selection so that no matter what the tastes of their party members and anybody else who comes into it later, they will find something to enjoy. Because both runners are going to want to keep all of these physical fighters plied.
Potato didn't visit the job dwarf. Seed not validated. It's not allowed. No,
neither of them did, actually.
I think right now, what you should, for some memery, a lot of there's certain runners that say, hey, you got a crystal sword, sell it to assert dominance over the seed. I think at this point, not just to assert dominance, if you need that money cash now, sell it immediately and do purchase what you will. So I think, if at this point, if you don't expect the Cecil to come, that's fine. You probably have more than enough damage, especially with this, at least for Zimbu's case, the spoon word. Probably more good enough to kind of deal with the rest of the seed, and even if a Cecil arrives.
Spoonward got the power shirt equipped on Simbu's side. Meanwhile, Potato's still looting. Did find a whistle. Whistles sell for 20,000 GP, which is a huge amount at this point in the game. It's just an obscene pile of money. So. Really nice there. That's a couple of Bacchuses at least. And that is a blue robe. That is an alt gauntlet and a sparkle. A really obnoxious Fey March here. And it's Ogopogo. Goodness.
Yeah. Noodle advocated the other wet noodle abdicated spot to take Ruby's spot, and the real wet Canadian noodle has decided this spot to be, especially this spot being the Leviathan spot, not balanced for punching. So when the ogre punches, see that number? Yeah. Tella needed a nap. That's fine. We're good.
Reminded of a kind of adage in the community. If you're RA1 and if you got Berserk up, you can make it through just about anywhere. This Ogopogo really testing the limits of that, but Simbu's agility situation should be such that he'll get some blinks up, he'll keep his fighter swinging, and it might take a little longer than he might be fully comfortable with, but he should make it through.
Yeah, quite a bit of knowledge played. Right now, both our runners are looking for moon access through the darkness crystal. In the event that D-Mist hasn't shown up, there's still places where D-Mist can hide, and right now Potato is going the panless route, so hoping for darkness at Sheila 1, and that's which has been known to be faded often because no one wants to visit Fabul more than twice, and sometimes you have to visit a third time, and it's happened a number of times, so totally understandable. So we'll see what Sheila 1 has.
Did move the hovercraft in anticipation of getting a rat tail somewhere along the line, and that wave came through, but Simbu is through, taking down that Ogopogo.
Yeah.
And getting a package. Ooh. It's a low percentage, but you just got through by the skin of your teeth. Do you think about seeing that package and seeing the boss back there?
Would be worth peeking. It's tempting. If you, in a good case, you could just see Edward's tracks. that would be pretty lucrative on the table. It's an option, and if you've never seen or heard of Eddie Strats, basically you take advantage of the bar's most useful tool in his arsenal, hide, and try to, show up, toss Starvale, toss some.
Yeah, Eddie Strats are officially off the table for Potato. That's a Cecil in the bed.
That
is a Sand Ruby from Sheila 1 going right into Cecil, and Kain is told to hit the bricks. Oh, what a betrayal.
I would have dished second edge, but that betrayal, Kain. Sorry that you have all the good weapons except all the good stuff Cecil gets to swing. It's unfortunate. We miss you.
Yeah, Crystal Sword, Cecil immediately becomes the focal point of this party. Two edges will certainly be in support, but that is a huge swing, and Potato going to immediately get that Cecil up to snuff. Has, I believe, 5 sirens.
It doesn't take too many scrambled eggs to get Cecil online, so I'm all for it. It's just as a note, the dwarf axes are typically Kain's favorite back row weapon. The only way to get the glitch on Kain primarily goes through the dwarf axe. So if you see a dwarf axe, all your fighters. Cecil, Kain, and Sid can, take advantage of the back row glitch. So but Kain, that's Kain's primary weapon to get back row glitch. So always a weapon to look for when the glitch is enabled.
Simbu, having the same thought, will likely be equally thrilled at finding a paladin resting in the bed. Why are you sleeping on the job, paladin? Is the sand ruby a hangover cure? Is that what it is?
Yeah, you call in sick after you've vomited after the day after the fact. That's why foo is not in the scene. That's literally why. There's no other reason. You can't. There's no reason Cecil should take a day off. No. Sand ruby cures. Sand ruby is the cure for what ails him.
So Simbu, telling that edge to get lost instead. So 2 edges for Potato, 0 edges for Simbu. You average them out, you get 1 apiece.
It's an interesting decision. I think at the moment having an edge with 2, I think it was full moons that were equipped, which is it's kind of middling. So it probably be just as good as Kain. But we've already found Kain's best weapon, so I effectively kind of a toss up. You can kind of justify eating one or the other. I think you'll have more potential of getting a better weapon for edge, but it's hey, 2 edges or 1 or no edges. But that's definitely an interesting decision.
So Potato making an interesting play here, trying to knock down that Rosa.
It's interesting. So there's usually very little reason to do that. Because by default, free enterprise XP is split evenly regardless of how many party members are alive. So and so that means you get effectively the full XP that you would get from the enemy.
Streamer S-Grunt coming up with, I think, what is the right answer. Rosa was the 3rd member of the party to be put down in anticipation of this Golbez. Golbez's script feeds 3 party members to Shadow, and if 3 party members are already down, Shadow comes on and then leaves again.
Yeah, it's like, you aiming for the XP? No, it's for this fight, and probably still want to get Cecil and Edge the XP, as both of them are probably more effective. Having the Edge with the better weapons being the better option. Simbu having to suffer a little bit, but Cecil has the adamant, and someone in that party has the ribbon, so that should have taken care of who is guaranteed to live, and shouldn't take much. Just let Cecil swing away that virus. The Calbrenna spot, the doll has a kind of a sneaky amount of spell power, so that's just why that Kain went down pretty quickly.
But lit 3 against an adamant Cecil does 1 damage. That's how powerful the adamant is. So Simbu is through there. We did get a look at the second boss here at the top of the tower. I don't remember who it is. It is a Sparkle. I knew it wasn't the D-Mist himself. So we've seen Ogopogo and Pale Dim, but it could be Wyvern or D-Lunars or Plague, and it's D-Lunars.
Well, slice and dice. See, it's kind of like the Crystal Sword is kind of like a Ginsu knife. When those commercials on, it slices, it dices. I don't remember the rest of the commercial, but it's great on D-Lunars. That's so D-Lunars feeling the force, and unfortunately, only Cecil will take the XP. No worries. We'll see some more scrambled eggs on the way.
Yeah, and this is really a party where those Bacchus wines do work as a reminder. Bacchus wines cast Berserk on your party member. Not only does Berserk make it so that character attacks, it also increases their stats. So they get stronger and they get faster, which is not the case when I drink wine, although it is what I think is the case when I drink wine. Both runners have Tella in their parties, and the warp glitch is on. So they can each warp back and get the key item that would normally be in the sealed cave. Simbu has to resurrect Tella in order to do that. But that's a Baron key from Luca. She has a different key around her neck today, and a tower key. So a whole lot of options opening up.
I think Baron will be easier to deal with outside of the Odin spot, but I think Tower might be an interesting play to do before leaving the underground, because there's two boss spots, and Simbu is read my mind. Yes, it's might as well do this. Baron still, would have been an equally viable option, but this is like, you kind of want to minimize your trips when you're route running. The idea is trying to do many things that are on the way instead of out of the way, before kind of leaving it. The only other place that is still available would be Scythe when you have the pan, or sealed cave with the Luca key. And I think we're still the flag side of things is just Kain, so there's nothing on the moon that really need to see. We have to do everything on the Earth, whether it's on the overworld or the underground.
As a reminder, we know the boss at the top of the tower is a Sparkle, so it's either a Wyvern or a Plague. The half tower play is, the half tower play is kind of in play here. The cannon room has all the elements. Demist still at large somewhere. Demist could have been anywhere, in the vanilla spot, in the waterfall, or it could be hiding way behind the darkness crystal at the CPU spot. Really anywhere. And nobody has found Demist yet.
That was curious. Potato reset out of it, but because we don't know what the key item is coming out of that. But then you think about it, you weren't supposed to be getting in there, because we don't know how we would have gotten there in the first place. So the tower key itself might be itself a trap, because you don't know what gets there. If it's a moon required, then I think that makes sense on Potato's mind. Like if you could attain the tower key by getting the Luca key, say at Baron, then that spot is required. So this one, it's interesting. So I think Potato's at least gambling on that idea. So I think there's still possible that the Luca key might show up, and that makes it required. So we'll see how that pans out.
Well, I think Potato is full on face check mode at this point. Knows he just needs the Demist wherever that happens to be. So was not interested in, even in the free fight of the elements in the cannon room. Definitely was not interested in taking on the top of tower, even with the key items that are out there. Going to Baron because that's where the bosses are. There are 3 bosses here. We know the first one is Ashura, but there are 2 boss spots left to check, and I think Potato's playing the numbers game.
I did miss it. Yeah, so we do have summons. So summons on our table. So the only moon thing that we would have to check would be the Bahamut spot on top of everything that is summon related. Also, we are on Wyvern, not Witchburn, so that means no nuke. So that's why we saw it Wyvern do wall. I was half expecting some Blarg, but no. When it goes immediately to wall, it's kind of the surprise Blarg is less painful. Oh, here we are. We found it.
Demist is on the throne, and as is appropriate for the Bacchus drinkers, it is champagne for the real kings, but real pain for the sham kings. Demist goes down.
And now the question is, do we want to grind? I think we can actually, at this point, Fryplayer can probably consider something along the lines of 1200 HP strats. Rosa not quite 1200 HP, but that might be the best option on the table to take on Z. We have in the past, we don't need to get the darkness crystal, but we still need to maybe grind a little bit, and at least purchase enough star veils and secondary kind of Z triggering item like an antidote or soft. Although I think we have those we need something to trigger Z without damaging Z. So then that will be kind of the thing to do. Try to when looking to fight Z at this point.
Well, luckily the Tela that Potato had was still under warranty, because Potato got a brand new Tela to replace him. Meanwhile, Simbu can get underground. Yeah. And so, with access to Sirens, with a Crystal Sword Cecil, you don't need all that many levels. I think Potato is going to go that route, and going into the Baron item shop or weapon shop, I think looking for something for those edges to dart, but not finding anything to his liking there.
I think that spoon kill was a little bit of overkill. I think the Demus at that spot, at the Kanazo spot, only has like 4,000 HP, so that was, twice as much HP need to be removed. But if you want to throw away your spoons, then might as well need to find a replacement dart, because that's having underwhelming. Not underwhelming, but it's like average edges. Doesn't seem so appealing. So it's what it is. We'll see how many. I don't know what the equipment situation is. I just know the edges will probably be meddling, Kain level meddling, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think there's an upgrade from that assassin dagger, mute dagger setup that Potato had going for a while, but Simbu is going to find out the good news that Baron has been taken over by the village just to the northwest. And we'll see if Simbu lets Demus get to a phase change. I'm gonna guess he won't.
Yeah, the only peculiar thing about Demus is really that it's a holy dragon. So Cecil having holy blade dealing half as much damage as normal because of it, but that's fine. Spoon Ward solves everything.
And actually got to use a Bacchus wine against Demus, which is not something you do all the time. Because of those phase change, because of those cold mist counters, but absolutely no fear there, and I think that's a meta objective. If not, it should be. And so Potato with a real heads up play here, knows there are centipedes around right outside the Sylph Cave. Centipedes have silk webs that Edge can steal, and that's precisely what he did. A silk web casts double slow on any enemy, but it's really useful against Zeromus. A really heads-up play from Potato.
Yeah, especially when you don't find it in a shop. It's usually I think it's I don't know the tiers, but it's lower, like tier 4 or lower. So it's usually reasonably accessible, pretty much in any basic shop. So it's a very good. Outside of Z, there's a ton of fast bosses, and you need a little bit of help. Slow very often turns the tide. You need just need a little bit more time to set up whatever you need. Having an item that does double the effectiveness of slow is always useful, and usually is optimal for any boss, making the boss go half as fast as it normally would.
Making the short trip to Zeromus, and that leads us to ask a question. We only had to defeat one boss in order to get the crystal to access Zeromus, and at just past an hour, it is time to figure out who Zeromus is going to be tonight and to ask that question, Deathblade. Please do it.
Whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? And there are always curious questions that need to be resolved, like, is it cute? Does it have a butt?
Would it look good on a wine bottle?
I think Deep Mist has a very good vintage, I will tell you.
You know, I believe there's marketing 101 that, like, most consumers won't buy wine based on taste. They will buy it based on how the bottle looks. So let's hope this Z will entice our runners to want to consume it faster. This crystal will go. Meanwhile, Simbu making up those levels at a lower level than Potato was when he started his grind, so we'll have to do a few more eggs. Oh, goodness.
I don't know where it's from, but it feels like an N64 game of some sort. I could only...
T-Dalmas. Is that looks like some version of Tails that is staring deep into my soul.
That is Sonic R. Is it Sonic Revolution or something? There's plenty of Sonic games, so I can only, Tails is certainly.
Sonic. I think the R stands for Sonic. Are you gonna stop staring at me, Tails? Please.
Well, I mean, it's not quite Calbrena, but it's definitely staring into my soul. I can assure you.
And Potato darting everything that isn't nailed down, including that defense sword. The final betrayal of Kain is that his beloved defense sword, which came in so handy, especially for Simbu throughout the entire seed, and is just ceremoniously chucked at this Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade float of an end boss.
Yeah, and Simbu's getting the opportunity to reach the Big Bang is nerfed. Tella takes a nap because Big Bang, even a nerfed Big Bang requires 1200 HP to reach safety, and Tella's only job here is to just anchor and take a nap. He's done. His job is done.
There are 5 total runners. We're seeing 2 of them. There are no finishers as of yet, so Potato's still in the running to finish in first place overall. Definitely making mincemeat of this particular boss. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, damage, probably not. I mean, Cecil's doing work. The edges, I think the back row, the back row edge is definitely doing a lot of work. Front row, I think Assassin Dagger, a little hobbled in the accuracy. It's like 50% accuracy, so the edge in front is not doing as much damage. But you can only make do with what you've got, so it's fine. There's enough DPS to get to the point where not having to worry, and just letting Rosa do her thing to heal the party as needed. So, although this time Rosa might not survive this Big Bang.
Coming out at a kind of inopportune time. It is not nerfed, and a little dicey.
I think Cecil will survive the rocks, but has to roll in a certain way. And here we are, test of rocks. Does it hit Cecil? Oh, yes.
Oh, the adamant Cecil with the dodge, and raise your glass. Fried Potato is our winner tonight. You can toast him for coming in first place with a time of 1:05.50 and winning the Bacchus Drinkers Club this week. GG's.
GG's. With the additional betrayal and the last second rocks avoiding, because adamant armor cures a lot of problems.
Yes, the best offense is a good defense, and that crystal sword really took care of a lot of Zeromus, but that adamant armor coming through just when he needed it most. And we'll see if Potato wants to come in for an interview. And we are joined by our first place finisher, Fried Potato. GG's.
GG. How is everyone?
So that adamant armor, making sure of the dodge of those rocks, we saw you make a beeline to the adamant grotto as soon as you got that pink tail. You knew how handy that would come.
Yeah, once I realized, I actually kind of spaced the adamant armors on for the first little bit, but I think the one I got was enough. You saw me poke a little bit in Evelyn before I committed to the hook route. That was kind of maybe, see if I get another one or some good items. I got the defense sword and power shirt out of it, so it worked out, but no second adamant, unfortunately.
Was there any thought to yeeting the second Edward second edge actually not getting with the Kain? Like you got the Cecil, you kind of yeeted the Kain, so for second edge.
Yeah, the reason I would have, I don't know, I really thought about Edward a lot more this speed than I do usually, because I had an adamant, I had a spoon, I had a glass hat, I had all the things to make Spoonward work, but I also had that crystal sword, and I don't know, I'm just, Cecil safer, really, ultimately in the Z fight. Like, I don't have to grind as much as I would feel like I'd want to with an Edward, so, and I kind of wish I'd held off putting the adamant armor on Kain until I saw the edge, but I wanted to make short work of the rest of the overworld before I went through. So I still had that to do, I think, because otherwise I would have gotten rid of, or like I might have ended up with a different party comp, I think, but it worked out. 2 edges in a Cecil. I mean, really, Cecil's all I need. Crystal sword, adamant Cecil.
Yeah, seriously, that's a one-man wrecking crew right there. It seemed like after Dwarf Castle, you were in full face check mode. Was that really because you only had one boss to go? Was that?
I was trying to play that. I knew it could burn me, that's why I went and you saw me save right outside the dwarf and peek the tower key. I was like, tower key, if it's there, then I'm done, like I already have the pass, I have sirens. Like I was, in my mindset, it's like, I'm done. I just have to get that one thing. So I am going to try to shortcut it. And so I was like, I'll check the tower key, but Baron's 2 bosses I haven't seen. So pretty good odds. I was just trying to play that. I knew there was still Twin Harp and Luke and Darkness and everything that leads to still open. So I was worried that it was not the right call to just reset out of a quick elements to tower key. But
that was definitely a good. I mean, that gamble paid off. I was like, thinking, if you guessed wrong and didn't find what you did, that would have set you back. It's like you spent your time to reset out of something that you might have needed later.
Yeah, I was definitely worried about that, and fading the Fey March, like with Summon On, it was definitely a lot of gambles kind of there. I was like, I don't know what the right play is because I don't know where Demas could be hiding. It could be on the giant, and it's still going to be another half an hour before I'm done with the seed. But I didn't want to, I was definitely in check everything I can see as fast as I can, get access, eyes on, because it is that kind of seed. Like everything else was given to us, especially with the adamants on. The Z fight itself won't be difficult. It's just a matter of getting your crystal, really. So.
Just one more quick thing. You threw the spoon at the demons, which
I did.
It's like, did you want to just assure the kill? The defense sword probably would have been just good enough.
I just wanted it's Demas. It's the boss of the siege. She deserved to get the spoon to end her. She's the Zeromus, really. Like Zeromus, is awesome, but she's the required boss of the siege. So I wanted to just give her the spoon and be done with it. Especially since I felt bad. Like the seed was like, here's an Edward, and I didn't even talk to him the first one in Watery Pass, you know, and it's like, here's another Edward, and then it gives me the spoon. It's like, use Edward, you know, glass hat, Edward. No, the spoon can go to Demist.
It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yep.
Well, this certainly is a fun club to watch. The Bacchus Drinkers really lead to some exciting races from where we sit. What do you like about the club and about this flag set?
I'm all about Berserkers. That's one thing I prefer. I mean, I've gotten familiar with the mage parties, and they definitely have their place, and some of them are awesome. But give me, you know, a Kain or a Cecil or an Edge any day of the week to play with. I feel like I can leverage those in races more, and I just generally have more fun. It feels like it's a little faster to get through everything when you're just either holding A or, you know, queuing up a Bacchus or one-shotting bosses with a Crystal Sword swing. And then generally the loot settings are also pretty favorable, which I love playing with T-Wildish sort of stuff, and having a lot of power to throw around. Those are really kind of my big draws. A lot of power, go fast. I mean, and not necessarily go fast. Boss hunts this could have been super trolly, you know, it could have been Demist Giant 2, as we were talking about pre-race, and that would have been, you know, quite the slog to get there. Even with the gear and stuff you still have to get to that point. And so I really enjoyed the theme of these and throwing some Zerkers around.
It does seem very satisfying to
It is, yeah.
come into a fight with that much power.
Yeah, when I unexpectedly one-shot Golbez at Dwarf 1 with 9,500 damage or something, that was nice. I forgot, I guess I just grinded a whole bunch, you know, because I just got Cecil and did some eggs, and it's like, first fight, Golbez, 9,000 damage. Dead. Love it.
Well, a fantastic race tonight. Any final thoughts on this seed before we let you go?
I'm glad it wasn't a Giant 2 or somewhere equally trolly.
What about a package? That would have been fun.
Package would have been interesting. I definitely was considering that in my head. Like, if I get package, how do I approach that? Do I take the time to check that boss spot? Because, yeah, if it's there and I check it 30 minutes from now, I'm going to feel real bad. So, yeah, definitely. I used to be... I'm not a fan of boss hunts in a lot of situations, but when they work, and I feel like this one was one of the... I mean, it could, like we said, it could have been a mess, but super fun. Early Pinktail into Adamant was a blast, and getting to throw around to Cecil. I'm almost glad Cecil wasn't, like, right up front, and that I had to, like, look a little bit for him, and, you know, get rewarded from that Sand Ruby. I kind of wish I had looked in Kaipo earlier, so I knew he was there, but it didn't really matter. Yeah, I love the flag set, love the clubs. Big fan, and you'll see me here next week for Bacchus Drinkers again.
Well, GG's, and we look forward to seeing you again next week, Potato.
GG, thank you all for putting this on, the restreamers, the commentators, the trackers, and everybody involved. We couldn't have it without everybody, so thank you all. Have a wonderful night.
GG's again, Potato.
GG.
And Simbu came in second place overall and second place on Restream with a time of 1:07:50. Simbu declining an interview, a little bit under the weather, so we certainly wish him the best of health. You know, the fact that he can run a 1:07:50 even with the sniffles, that shows you what kind of runner Simbu is. So Deathlike, that was a really fun match to watch. Any final thoughts on the seed that we just saw?
Yeah, a lot of things. You know, it's a randomizer, and you see potato gamble on things like don't want to deal with that right now and save some time, and it paid off. Not all seeds cater that way, but it happens. So in a race, anything can happen. Zimbo was a lot more thorough, got a lot more power earlier, and you see the difference in time. Like Zimbo having that early some caught up in time quickly on the hook route, but then lost time when like those gambles paid off for Potato. So anything can happen in a randomizer, and that's the beauty.
Anything can happen, and usually does, and that's why we love watching it and love broadcasting it. And speaking of that, lots more free enterprise on the way for you soon. So on Free Enterprise 2 on Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern, same time as tonight, there's a community race, which is always a lot of fun, so come on out for that. On Saturday at 3 p.m., another one of our club's Baron's Heroes Journey, always really interesting flag sets, really fun gameplay there. Later tonight, over on Speed Runs Live, no holidays allowed, two of our very favorite people, Asuka and Alisale, are going to be racing, and that's going to be at about 2 a.m. Eastern. So definitely, if you're gonna stay up to watch that, you will be richly rewarded. But for now, we're going to head over to Taco Melt, a new friend of ours who's quickly doing a lot of great work. He's playing practice seeds for tomorrow's Pink Puff League race, which won't be restreamed, but it is always a lot of fun. So join the Discord to get there. Do want to thank our restreamer S-Grunt and our tracker Beauty and Discovery. Great work tonight as always. Thank you to Deathlike for all of the knowledge. And my name has been Sheep Launcher, and until next time, so long.
More free enterprise in under 3 hours, and hope to see you next seed. Don't spoil.